Hi, I'm Kennedy Kerr. I'm going to read to you a little bit today from my book, The House at Magpie Cove. Serafina's was one of two cafes in Magpie Cove. Mara's beach house was one of the few houses actually on the beach. Further back, there sat a line of faded Victorian terraces that overlooked the sea from a promenade with steps down to the beach. The cove was prone to occasional storms, and so most people lived further into town. Behind the terraces, a winding high street followed an original cobbled lane that predated cars. In fact, if you drove into Magpie Cove, you could only get so far and then had to leave your vehicle in the car park and walk into the village. There was, however, a slim road that led to a dead end next to the beach, which is where Mara had parked when she visited the beach house. Unlike St. Ives, with its bustling streets of fudge makers, ice cream parlours, tea shops, and Cornish pasty takeaways, Magpie Cove's high street featured an antique shop, an art gallery, and a small shipwreck and smuggling museum, alongside a small bakery and local butcher. Of the two cafes, there was a nice looking one with plenty of people in, Serafina's, and another at the end of the street. Its drab decor looked like it hadn't been refreshed for many years, and the sign in the window was flipped to closed. Despite not living that far away, Mara couldn't remember ever having come to Magpie Cove herself before now. She hadn't needed to. Clearly, Abby had mysterious reasons for keeping her away. Serafina's it is then, Mara thought. She desperately needed a coffee, preferably triple strength. It was 2 weeks after she and the kids had first visited the house, and Mara had just been at the estate agency in St. Ives. Magpie Cove was too small to have one. The news wasn't great. In its current state, the beach house would only be likely to raise half of what she needed to get a new place. In St. Ives, where they'd always lived, a small house with a garden, what she'd need for her and the kids, wasn't cheap. She'd barely afford a one-bedroom flat there with what she had. The kids had gone back to school now that it was beginning of September, and she was glad they weren't with her today, because she felt like bursting into tears. What on earth was she going to do? She couldn't afford to make repairs to the beach house. The roof alone would cost thousands, and the survey had thrown up some pretty serious damp and subsidence. Oh, and the whole place needed rewiring. Great. Aside from that, she could also see the school situation was going to get difficult pretty quickly. The twins had gone back to their old school in St. Ives, which was nice on one hand because it provided them with much needed normality, but Mara wondered how long it would take for word to get around that she and the kids were currently bunking down in a cramped hotel. Living in a scruffy hotel and the proud owner of a decrepit beach house, she thought sarcastically. Can life get any better than this? When she dropped them off at school that first morning, there had already been some looks, some sympathetic, but some not as kind. Mara had no doubt she'd be getting fewer dinner invitations from now on, and that was fine with her, quite frankly. She worried for the twins, though. She didn't want them to be excluded or seen as different. In their school community, poverty was synonymous with disease. She imagined that some of the 4x4 driving, carefully blow-dried mummies had shied away from her at the school gates today, either, as if her misfortune was catching. There you are. So I hope you enjoyed that. And The House at Magpie Cove is available on Amazon, iTunes, Google Books, and Kobo. And the second book in the series will be out in June 2021. Enjoy.